Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now I'm gonna go over why I think the mourning geckos are great pets for myself, because if something does work for myself, it probably applies to a bunch of other people as well, because I think I'm quite the normal average guy with average capabilities and interests. So some of the most fundamental reasons are actually the same reasons why I have a crested gecko, and that is why I also have mourning geckos, because they're so similar. Now I already did a video on why I think the crested gecko is going to be a great pet for some of you, and I'm going to put a link here or there. I don't even know YouTube these days. I don't know. I'm so out of the loop.
Chris, you're a YouTuber.
What's your point? And if you watch that video first, this is going to make a lot more sense to you and you're going to get a more holistic experience, a holistic view of it. But long story short, when I get a pet, I want to make sure I will be able to care for it the same from day one to like 10 years in the future or 20 years in the future, however long they live. When it comes to geckos, they usually live about 10 to 15 years, maybe longer. That's really where the problem lies, because if a pet that you have is too high of a care level constantly, then what's going to happen to them if after a year you lose all that hype you thought you had, but that animal is actually going to live on another 8 to 9 years? Like I said in the other video, this is why Go Herping's Emerald Scales adoption program even exists. But the same kind of easiness and non-complicated care levels for a crested gecko transfers over to the mourning gecko. The only little bits of care requirements that are a little bit different is that the mourning gecko does need a little higher humidity, and they most definitely need some live foods from time to time. What I love to do with mine is just to add some calcium dusted wingless fruit flies, and my 3 girls go absolutely nuts for them. They go on like a hunting spree, and it's super cool to see. Other than that, all requirements are pretty much the same. Of course, they are much smaller, so it's very easy to lose them. They are known to be escape artists. I've lost each 3 of my Pangeas on separate occasions. I've told you guys about it a few times. I've also told you guys a few times about how cool and scientifically interesting the mourning gecko is, such as that they're parthenogenic, so go search up what that means if you've never heard of it. They're just evolutionarily very extraordinary. I'm going to not go into all that because I just want to keep this video a little bit more on the short side if I can. So if you're still watching and you're agreeing with everything I'm saying, you're finding that this pet is, you know, if it's like a crested gecko, maybe you already have a cresty and you're looking for a very similar pet, this is definitely one of your options. But having made the crested gecko video and having said what I've said already, there is one very, very different thing that I still have to point out that probably is, for me at least, the make it or break it feature of the difference between a crested gecko and a mourning gecko. And that make it or break it difference ultimately comes down to the fact that mourning geckos are more of a pet that you do not interact with as much, if at all. I definitely will never encourage or recommend any children to have the mourning gecko as a pet. They're 100% not children friendly, not in the way you think. They're not gonna bite, they're not poisonous, they will not hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It's actually the opposite, where the children will either lose the mourning gecko or squish it, hurt it by accident. They're very flighty, they're very, very quick. So even if you're an adult, double check on how good your hand-eye coordination is, your motor skills. Are you good at riding the bicycle? Are you good with balance? Do you play volleyball? What's your shooting percentage for basketball? Have you ever played soccer in your life? Have you ever skated before? Rollerblading does not count. Figure skating is an additional bonus. Do you know how to dive? How good are you at ping pong? And have you ever played badminton? Is your chopstick skills on par or more than equal to an Asian person? So basically what I'm saying is you need to really be quick on them if you want to try hand taming them, because for the first month or more they're going to be trying to escape any way they can. And let me tell you, let me just leave it here with this, let me really tell you, they're able to do backflips. They can just toss themselves backwards and zoop, they're gone. And they give very little to no pre-jumping. Sometimes you see that tail wiggle a little, sometimes you'll see them stop very suddenly and kind of like go backwards a little bit and then take off, but sometimes they'll just be like, and you don't even see the warning signs. It's not like Rapashi, my crested gecko, doing like a whole load up and then meh. It's more like gone, never see them again, eaten by the house spider. The ability to just jump and disappear, and the fact that they're so tiny and vulnerable to your kids' graspy hands. Kids are actually very strong. My sister beats me up all the time, and hand taming really takes patience. For most people, I would say treat them like you would a dart frog. It's a pet for exhibition, not for interaction. And that is, in my opinion, the biggest difference between mourning geckos and cresties, because cresties, although they're not like the best, the most handleable pet. They're miles ahead of how handleable a mourning gecko would be to most of the population. So if you're really looking for your next reptile pet to be handleable and you get to cuddle them and you get to play around with them, make them jump hand to hand, I'm not saying that's impossible. In fact, if you search on YouTube, there are lots of hand-tamed colonies of mourning geckos around, but it's just not that practical at the end of the day. There are so many risks associated with it, and because I don't know you personally, I'm not going to go ahead and encourage you to interact with your mourning gecko and possibly lose half of them. Alright, that being said, I think you guys have noticed that I keep addressing the mourning geckos as a group and not individuals, and I guess this is like the last difference. So basically, mourning geckos are very, very social. You should not keep only one of them. I would recommend at least 3. Obviously, a bigger tank, a colony would be much better. So hopefully you do have the budget to buy more than one of them. And finally, because they're very social, they're gonna have many social cues in the form of calls. And they usually call during dusk and dawn, sometimes all during the night and sometimes during the day. I don't know, they're crazy like that. Their calls are admittedly quite minute, very, very discreet, little chirps, you barely hear them. But if the tank is in your bedroom, when you're trying to sleep, when you're trying to get into the calm of the night, and that stuff starts up, I mean, I personally never experienced it because I made damn sure that their enclosure would not be anywhere near my bed because I'm such a light sleeper. If they start chirping up like that, it's gonna be a problem. So wherever you put it, make sure it's not gonna disturb your sleep schedule. All right, I think that's just about it. I'm gonna end the video here. I don't wanna stress the video on any longer. So this is basically what is the difference between a mourning gecko and a crested gecko care and why I think the mourning gecko is a good fit for me and hopefully therefore would be a good fit for a lot of you. If you have questions, concerns, issues, anything, you can leave them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you. Some other people here might be experts on mourning geckos even more than myself, so they might be able to help you out as well. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out in any way, please smash that like button and subscribe. There'll be more videos to come, and don't forget to get your hands wet. I finna gone 3 days without furt. I'm an addict, like fanatic. I'm a baddest, no tabs, only dirt. My Corey gang so loyal, black tetra go skirt. We came to play, came to silence, gang violence, no cap. That could be fat, she wanna clap. 81 Fahrenheit, my boys get that whap. Put it on my tab, 3-to-1 ratio, breeders on the map.